Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Vinyl Den, your channel for record collecting by record collectors. I'm Nick. It's Tuesday, time to talk about some new releases coming out this Friday, April 7th. There's about 450 albums coming out this Friday. I got 10 on my list today though. There's a bunch of links down below. Make sure you go check them out. There's links for the Vinyl Den Facebook group, for the merch page, for the Spotify and Apple Music weekly playlist that we put together, and of course also the Patreon page. Make sure you go check all that out. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me the old thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I release new episodes. Like I said in the intro, there's about 450 albums coming out this Friday. I'm only going to talk about 10 of them though, so if there's something I don't talk about on the show today, make sure you drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you're looking forward to picking up. And of course, like always, if you're unable to find any of these in your local brick and mortar stores, they're all available online. I'll put links down below for them. So I think the big release this week is going to be this Linkin Park Meteora 20th anniversary box set that's coming out. There's two different versions of this going to be available. There's a 4 LP set that's going to run you, depending on where you look, it's like $75 on Amazon. Your local record store, they're a little closer to $100 they're going to charge for that one. And then there's a 5 LP, 4 CD, 3 DVD box set. So it's a super deluxe box set. It's going to run you about $200 online. So like I said, a pretty big difference between the two price-wise. I also think you're getting a big difference between the two. I'll kind of go over some of the stuff that's included in both packages. But this album was released back in 2003. It was Linkin Park's second studio album. I absolutely love this album. I think the first two Linkin Park albums are definitely their best. The 4 LP set contains the original album. It also has 2 LPs of demos, and then it has 1 LP of a selection of live tracks from 2002 through 2004. So you're getting some live stuff with it. You're getting some demos. There's a lot included in there. But with this big super deluxe box set, you're also getting the full Live in Texas concert, which has never been available on vinyl before. You're also getting the Live in Nottingham, which has never been available on CD or vinyl or anything. So you're getting 2 full live shows. And then there's a DVD of 4 unreleased concerts, and there's also a documentary. It also comes with a booklet and a bunch of other stuff that you generally get in those super deluxe box sets. Like I said, pretty hefty price tag on that, though. If you're looking for just the 4 LP set, which is probably the way I'm going to go. If you go on Amazon, like I said, it's about $75. Your local record store is closer to $100. So it's there's a price difference there, but I know a lot of people really don't like buying from Amazon. So if you're looking for your local record store, just know that's going to be a little bit more. This week, you've also got the reissue of Warrant's Cherry Pie coming out. This was released back in 1990. It's their Warrant's second studio album. It's a huge album when it came out. This is a music on vinyl pressing. It's limited to 3,000 numbered copies. It's on cherry pink vinyl, which I don't know why they chose pink. It red seems like I guess they've already done red before, but I think red is a better color than pink for the album. But anyway, that's just me being crazy. But so this is a reissue of a very popular music on vinyl release from late last year. It's going to run you about $43 online. I know a lot of people that missed out on that MOV release last year. There's a bunch of pre-orders that got canceled. People were still looking for it, as of the announcement of this next reissue. So I know there's a lot of people that are going to be happy that they'll finally get a copy of this album. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you know I'm a big jazz fan. Have been for a long time. There's 2 jazz releases coming out this week. These are both part of the Blue Note Tone Poet series. Blue Note has been doing this great Tone Poet series. They also do a classic series. The classic series tends to run a little cheaper. They're like $10 cheaper per release, but they come in a little bit, not as nice of a jacket. And I think what they do with the Tone Poet series releases are absolutely fantastic. They take a bunch of great albums that have been available for a long time, press them, put them in premium tip-on jackets, and it's a really nice presentation that Blue Note does with them. But the first one, this is Chet Baker. Chet Baker sings and plays with Bud Shank, Russ, Freeman, and strings. This was released back in 1955. Like I said, it's part of the Tone Poet series. It's going to run you $39 online. So after Chet Baker Sings came out in 1955, I think it was the year it came out. Let me look here. Chet Baker Sings actually came out in 54. So after that album came out, it was a huge release, and Pacific Jazz really wanted to kind of capitalize on the success of that album. So they quickly got Chet back in the studio to do a sequel. it's not as highly regarded as the first, but it's still a great album. If you are a jazz fan, if you're a Chet Baker fan, it's definitely a great one to pick up. Though it's mastered by Kevin Gray from the original analog tapes. It's like I said, it's the best this album is really going to ever sound. You've also got Stanley Turrentine coming out. This is Mr. Natural. This was released back in, it was recorded back in '64, but it wasn't released until 1980. I don't know why there was a huge, 16-year gap between release from when it was recorded when it was released. I'm not sure if there was issues within Blue Note or if Blue Note didn't like the way the album turned out, whatever it was. They never released it until '80. It's got a great lineup on here, though. You got Lee Morgan on trumpet, you got McCoy Tyner on piano, Bob Crenshaw on bass, Alvin Jones on drums. It's a great lineup. It's also mastered by Kevin Gray. Like I said, it's going to be the same price point as that Chet Baker release. It's going to run you about $39 online. But both those jazz releases, I'm sure they're going to be both fantastic. The new Ellie Goulding album comes out this week. This is Higher Than Heaven. This is her 5th studio album. It's running about $38 online. She's an interesting artist. I look at her a lot of the way I look at Robbie Williams. They're both huge musicians outside the U.S., but they're never really able to gain traction here in the States. I'm not really sure why. She does have some really good music. The only album of hers I've ever listened to all the way through is Lights. I do have that on vinyl. It was a Record Store Day release, I think a year or two back. And it's a great album. I haven't listened to really anything outside of that one album, so I definitely need to stream that one and check that one out. Like I said, it's going to run you about $38 if you're interested in that one. You've also got Kiss off the Soundboard, live in Poughkeepsie, New York, 1984. This is a really interesting release, and I'll get to that. I'll get to why it's an interesting release here in a minute. It's going to run you about $48 online. Those Soundboard releases from Kiss tend to be a little bit more pricier, and this is the 5th in this official or authorized Soundboard recordings that they've been doing over the last, I think, a year or two. They've been doing these releases. It's a double LP. This is a recording from November 28th, 1984 at the Mid-Hudson Civic Center or Civics Arena. So the interesting thing about this is off the Animalized tour. And Mark St. John, this is the only recording or the only Soundboard recording that's known of with Mark St. John on guitar. The only album he was ever on was Animalized, and he did this one tour afterwards, and then that's all there was for him and Kiss. So there's 2 tracks on here that are partial recordings. You've got Young and Wasted and Rock and Roll All Night were both incomplete. But because of how important this one show or this one recording is, like I said, it's the only one with Mark St. John. That's why the band pushed it out, even though it's not a full concert. You got the second album from De La Soul being reissued this week. This is De La Soul Is Dead. First released back in 1991. It's going to run about $35 online. It's a double LP. This is a fantastic album. This is, I think, pretty widely regarded as one of the best rap albums of the early 90s. I know when Rolling Stone did their top 500 albums of all time back in, 2020, I think, when they released it. This was, I think, like number 228, I think, if my memory serves me correct. It's just, like I said, great album. If you're a De La Soul fan, it's definitely a must-own. It's definitely my favorite De La Soul album. Yeah, their first 2 albums are both fantastic, though. So you got that coming out this week. And then you also got Depeche Mode, Memento Mori being released. The album actually came out last month. I think there was also vinyl that came out last month when this was released. And this is a clear variant that's coming out this week. This is it's going to run about $45 online. It's Depeche Mode's 15th studio album. I wasn't a big fan of Depeche Mode. The first single that came off of this album, though, I did like it. I thought it was a really good track. And then this is the first album to be released from Depeche Mode since the death of Andy Fletcher back in 2022. It's definitely one I need to stream and check out. Like I said, was never a huge Depeche Mode fan, but I did like that first track I heard. So if you're a death metal fan, you're definitely going to like these last 2 albums on the list. They're both Cannibal Corpse releases. The first one, this is The Bleeding. First released back in 1994. It's their 4th studio album. It's on Red Splatter. It's going to run you about $33 online. And this is the last Cannibal Corpse album to feature Chris Barnes on vocals and the first to have Rob Barrett on guitar. The interesting thing about this album, and something I didn't know until just recently, is I didn't know this is Cannibal Corpse's best-selling album, but this is actually the 5th highest-selling death metal album of all time. So that's something I did not know. It's an album that both of these Cannibal Corpse albums I haven't listened to in probably 20 plus years. So I definitely need to check both of them out. And then the next one is Vile. It was their fifth studio album released back in 1996. This one's on Silver Splatter. It's also got to run you $33. And this is the first album to have George Fisher on vocals, which I think he's still the lead singer of Cannibal Corpse today. I know he's done a couple of different side projects over the years, a couple of different bands he's worked in also. So it's it's one that like I said, I need to go back and stream that. I will say that this Vile was actually has the distinction of being the first death metal album to hit the Billboard 200 here in the U.S. I think it was like 150th, 151st, something like that. But like I said, if you're a fan of death metal, they're both ones worth checking out. Well, that's all I got for you today, guys. Thanks for checking the show out. Like I said, there's about 450 albums coming out this week. I only talked about 10, though, so make sure you drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you're looking forward to. There's a bunch of really good stuff coming out this week. I'm definitely excited for those 2 jazz releases. I'm kind of on the fence about picking up a copy of Meteora. I already have 2 copies of it already. So am I really going to listen to the demos and the live stuff enough to justify the price on it? I don't know. I'll decide when I get to the record store. And then, of course, the De La Soul, if I can grab a copy of that, I'm also going to do that. But let me know what you're looking forward to. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me the old thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. That's all I got. Until next time, keep on spinning. Peace.